Russia's defense ministry says it has thwarted a Ukrainian drone attack on the Moscow region that has injured at least 2 people. According to the Russian Aviation Authority, nearly 50 flights in and out of Moscow were disrupted. Drone strikes on the Russian capital have become increasingly common in recent months as Ukraine complainingly ups its counter-offensive. At least 8 fighters have been killed by Russian airstrikes on rebel-held northwest Syria, according to the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights. Russia's warplanes carried out airstrikes on the western outskirts of Idlib city, targeting a military base belonging to the Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, or the HTS, which is led by Syria's former Al-Qaeda affiliate and controls swaths of Idlib's province. North Korea's national airline was set to make its first commercial flight in over 3 years, only for it to be abruptly cancelled at the last minute. This comes when China has approved restarting of commercial flights between Beijing and Pyongyang. North Korea has been largely closed off from the outside world since early 2020, when it shut its borders in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. According to reports, Air Koryo had not given a reason for the cancellation. South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol has said that the trilateral cooperation with the United States and Japan will grow stronger if North Korea's threats increase. He made these remarks days after he took part in a summit meeting with the leaders of the United States and Japan, where they agreed to deepen military and economic cooperation. Yoon also said that the country had begun a 4-day Ulchi civil defense exercise, which is for establishing national emergency preparedness, of maintaining government functions, supporting military operations and stabilizing people's lives during the war. Two former lawmakers, leftist Lucia Gonzalez and Daniel Noboa, will battle for Ecuador's presidency in the October runoff. This comes after coming top in the first round of the voting over the weekend. Gonzalez, a protege of the former president Rafael Correa, who has promised to revive his social programs, won 33% support, while Noboa, son of the former presidential candidate Alvaro Noboa, won the second place with 24% of the vote. Kazakhstan's President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev was officially welcomed to Vietnam by his counterpart, Vietnamese President Vo Van Thuong. It comes at a time when the two countries are hoping to boost bilateral ties, particularly in trade and economic relations. Tokayev's 3-day visit is the first visit to Vietnam by a president of Kazakhstan in 12 years. Although the trade between the two remains modest, they are hoping to boost it by over $1.5 billion by 2030. Thuong and Tokayev witnessed the signing of several cooperation agreements in areas of trade, tourism and culture. The BRICS summit is set to begin on Tuesday in South Africa's Johannesburg. The bloc will seek to widen its influence and push for a shift in global geopolitics. Russia will be represented by the Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, with President Vladimir Putin participating only online. As per reports, there is a strong possibility of a structured meeting between the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Chinese Premier Xi Jinping. Earlier, South African President Ramaphosa vowed they will not be forced to side with any global power. Over 100 people in Bangladesh, including several policemen, were injured as a second round of clashes erupted In the Habiganj district, the clashes took place between supporters of the ruling Awami League and the opposition BNP. Police had to reportedly resort to firing tear gas shells and rubber bullets to bring the situation under control. The two parties have been at loggerheads for a while now. The BNP has called for a neutral caretaker government to oversee the upcoming January elections. They've also accused the Awami League of stifling dissent and rigging previous polls. The Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan met the Hungarian Prime Minister in Budapest on Sunday. The two discussed bilateral relations and furthering cooperation between the two countries. The leaders also chaired a delegation meeting with ministers following the bilateral talks. And according to the Turkish state media, the leaders discussed Turkey's accession process to the European Union, along with regional and international issues. During his visit, Erdogan is also expected to attend the World Athletics Championship game and celebrations to mark Hungary's Foundation Day. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un visited a Navy unit and oversaw the testing of strategic cruise missiles. This comes ahead of the start of the annual joint military drills between South Korea and the United States. As per North Korea's state media, Kim Jong-un inspected one of his fleets in the East Sea and the Sea of Japan. The test launch was conducted with the intention to verify the combat functions of the ship and the features of the missile system. The missile test also comes days after Joe Biden's Camp David summit involving United States, South Korea and Japan. Guatemala anti-corruption crusader Bernardo Arevalo has been voted in as the country's president. Supporters gathered on streets to revel in his victory, blaring horns, waving the flags and cheering. The victory seemed impossible until recently. Voters hope it will end years of rule marred by corruption and authoritarianism. Arevalo has vowed to purge institutions co-opted by the corrupt. The newly elected president also aims to get people committed to what he calls the fight for justice to return to Guatemala, and this after scores of prosecutors, judges and journalists fled the country. Following sustained efforts by the Indian Ministry of External Affairs, 17 Indian nationals from the states of Punjab and Haryana have been successfully evacuated from Libya. The Indians were held captive by an armed group in the North African country after they were trafficked. Libyan authorities were able to rescue the Indian nationals on June 13th, but kept them in custody. This came following the high-level intervention by the Indian ambassador in Tunis and the senior MEA officials from New Delhi. The stranded Indian nationals reached New Delhi on Sunday evening. After making a landfall in Mexico on Sunday, tropical storm Hillary is now unleashing a vicious wind speeds and heavy rain across California. Officials have warned residents and urged them to take precautions. This is the state's first tropical storm in 84 years. Despite the storm weakening, the state weather department has recorded winds up to 80 miles per hour as it approaches southwestern U.S. Evacuations are underway in many areas, including California and in the mountains and foothills of San Bernardino County in California. Experts have predicted life-threatening floods and landslides. A few desert regions could receive 2 to 3 years worth of rain in 3 days, it seems. Following the state of emergency issued by the British Columbia, Canada is now sending armed forces to tackle the fast-spreading wildfires. This as the western province deals with flames that have put more than 35,000 people under evacuation orders. British Columbia has imposed a ban on non-essential travel in order to keep accommodations unoccupied for firefighters and evacuees. The province has also requested drone operators and others who are capturing images of the fires to stay clear of the rescue work. US President Joe Biden is set to visit the Hawaiian island of Maui to assess the devastating loss of life and land and property caused by the wildfires. The president will be accompanied by the First Lady Jill Biden. They will meet survivors as well as the federal, state and local officials. The Maui fires have killed at least 114 people so far. The flames started on August 8th. The cleanup and survey work is still underway. The area of Lahaina is the worst affected by the wildfire. Colombians have taken their beds to the streets to celebrate World Laziness Day. This is the closing day of the festival held every year since 1985 in the outskirts of Medellin. During this event, the community is invited to make healthy and positive use of leisure time. The varied program includes multiple recreational activities and performances by various artists. The streets of the urban center are transformed into a stage for recreation and art. The World Laziness Day is conceived as a proposal related to the slow movement which seeks to implement a calmer lifestyle. Enthusiasts of gravity racers or soapboxes faced each other in a race in Brazil during the Virada Cultural Festival. Soapboxes are motorless vehicles which are raced on a downhill road. The festival also features diverse art shows and cultural events, but the main attraction is the traditional soapbox race. The carts are mostly made of wood and bearings as wheels, and some can reach over 50 kilometers per hour. The much anticipated terminal in a garden concept at Bengaluru International Airport is set to take flight. Its official international operations are set to commence on the T2 terminal. The buzz suggests that Singapore Airlines will be the first to flag off the international operations from the airport, with its Bengaluru to Changi Airport route becoming operational. This step heralds a new era for the airport and the international travel alike. Reports suggest that Meta's latest venture, Threads, which has been missing a web version, might finally fill that gap. The tech giant is said to have been testing an early iteration of the web platform, aiming for a potential launch within this week. Yet, tech experts raise concerns about potential bugs that could postpone the launch. Threads, often regarded as a basic Twitter or X clone, has rapidly gained over 100 million users. Despite its rapid growth, its incomplete features have impacted user retention rates. Today, the US dollar started off on a sturdy note, building on 5 consecutive days of gains. Investors are eagerly turning their attention to the Federal Reserve's Jackson Hole Symposium, seeking insights into the future trajectory of the interest rates after the current hiking cycle, with US Treasury yields surging in anticipation of sustained higher rates. The dollar managed to inch forward against a basket of currencies. In the world of electric vehicles, a new challenge is electrifying Europe. Chinese EV makers like NIO and MG have raced ahead at home and are now setting their sights on the European market, but they're facing more than just competition. Stereotypes about Chinese manufacturing, import costs and a less developed EV market await. Despite these hurdles, they've made their mark, capturing 8% of the European EV sales this year. Yet the road isn't smooth. Logistics, taxes and consumer trust pose the real challenges. Western automakers are fighting back, slashing prices and revving up their EV game. Thailand's economy is facing unexpected hurdles, as revealed in the second quarter report. Despite the challenges of weakening exports due to global demand slowing down, the nation found a silver lining in its resilient tourism sector. The government adjusted its growth forecast, now projecting a range of 2.5% to 3% for 2023, while the economy grew 1.8% for the year earlier. In April-June, it fell short of the 3.1% anticipated by economists. Nevertheless, the vital tourism industry managed to keep the economy afloat, counterbalancing the export setbacks. China has cut its one-year benchmark lending rate by 10 basis points, aiming to ignite credit demand and revive its cooling economy. However, markets were caught off guard as the 5-year rate remained unchanged amid concerns about a weakening currency. China's economic rebound has hit snags due to a property slump, weak consumer spending and shrinking credit growth, with limited room for deep monetary easing due to the yuan pressures. Beijing walks a tightrope between stimulus and currency stability. Analysts speculate that China's cautious rate adjustments are designed to maintain a stable currency market.